Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of our podcast called Unblock the Smiletrap. My name is Emily, also known as Emily the Brave here on the YouTubes, and I'm here with...
I'm Dan, also known as Dan Resler or the Walking Walrus. People call me that.
Who called you that?
I'm sure you made that up.
I call me that.
Okay, well that counts. I'm Cassie, also known as Cassie HP, a lot of numbers, which are 0593.
Hey, I'm glad you got your numbers right.
Hey, I'm good at them.
I certainly wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have. I change them every single time. So yes, this is our first ever episode of this podcast that we decided to do this one time. And you're probably wondering why it's called Unblock the Smiletrap. Well, here's the story behind that. One time, Cassie and I were in a Mike Lombardo blog TV show, and he was asking people to submit, like, him to perform at Woodstock. Like, you could submit your own thing. And I was like, you know, what if I submitted myself and I got to perform at Woodstock, even though I can't play any musical instruments or, you know, have a band or anything? And Cassie's like, Emily, we should start a hypothetical band.
By that,
So
I
Cassie-
meant, hey Emily, I really want to be your friend. Can we bond over something?
Like our hypothetical band.
Right.
This is also the story of Cassie and I's friendship. So we decided to both go on Wikipedia and just click search random article, and I came up with unblock something, and Cassie came up with Smiletrap, and therefore we became Unblock the Smiletrap. That's the story. That's it. But Dan, tell us what a Smiletrap actually is.
If you Google it, Wikipedia tells me that a smile trap is a penning trap mass spectrometer located in Stockholm, Sweden. The acronym stands for Stockholm Mains Lon Leviton Trap. Trap is just an acronym for trap. It is a cylindrical pinning trap in a 0.25 T electromagnet used for ion beam retardation.
That rolls
there
off
you
the
go.
tongue.
So
Yeah.
that's what that does. Also, if you go on Google and you hit images for Smiletrap, you get a bunch of anime. If you go to videos, you get a video titled Ghetto, followed by the N-word, Lil Shepherd, and Young Jeezy Sample.
Those are all of the things we represent here on Unblock the Smiletrap.
And
Jesus started a band, he'd be Lil Jeezy.
if you go to Maps, there is no city called Smiletrap, but it thinks you meant Smila Charkasa Oblast, Ukraine, which is a place.
So,
If you go to news, there is no news. If you go to mail, you have to sign up for Gmail. So that's what all those things do.
thank you for giving us a tour of the Google search bar, Dan.
You're welcome.
So little things about this podcast. It was something that we just decided we wanted to do because we do that on the internet. But we have some other plans. As you know, we have friends on the internet, which is like a big surprise. I know. So we're definitely planning on having some guest stars and all that fun stuff with other people. But today, being our first episode, it's just going to be Cassie, Dan, and I. And we have a nice little list of topics, a little agenda, if you will. We're being organized here. So the first thing on our topic list is Halloween, which is coming up in freaking 2 weeks. I don't know about you guys. Halloween's probably my favorite holiday.
Halloween used to be one of my favorite holidays, but then like Halloween gets progressively worse as you get older. Because there's an age you reach where you like can't trick or treat anymore.
I still
but you're
trick-or-treat.
not cool enough to go to like Halloween parties or anything. So you just like stay in. And that's pretty lame.
I've gone trick-or-treating every single year. Even up until last year, my senior year of high school, I still trick-or-treated. Of course, you go up to, like, some people, like, think it's cute. They're like, oh, like, kids are still going trick-or-treating instead of, like, getting wasted. And some people are just, like, really mean about it. Like, you're like, oh, these crazy kids are just trying to take some free candy.
Well, Emily, you've obviously never been trick-or-treating while wasted.
No, I have not, so...
And then there's the third group of people that mistake you for 12-year-olds.
That's the most awkward, because it's dark and stuff.
And because you're
It
4
doesn't
feet
really
tall.
have to be dark. That wasn't what I was getting at.
Oh. Yeah.
What's some of the best things you've ever gotten while trick-or-treating? Because I know I have one specific one.
There was a dentist that used to live down the street from me in the house I was growing up, and he would give us apples, and then one year he gave us toothbrushes, and my mom almost made me go there. Actually, here's a funny thing. So my mom is a nutritionist, and the company she works for, she gets like lots of boxes of, like granola bars and, healthy things. Like we have a bunch of Splenda at my house. And one year right before Halloween, her company shipped her this box of like maybe 300 granola bars. And my mom doesn't like candy. Like she doesn't like the idea of Halloween, like giving out candy on Halloween because she's a nutritionist. So instead she gave out these nasty granola bars. And I was like, Mom, we're going to get egged. And we had just moved into our new house, and I was a freshman in high school, and there were like a lot of popular kids who lived down the street from me, and I was really scared because they went trick-or-treating at our house, and my mom gave them the gross granola bars, and we didn't get egged, but I was worried there. So my mom was the one who gave out the gross stuff.
Fun times at the Emily the Brave household.
Yeah.
I was only allowed to have 5 pieces of candy on Halloween night.
What is that?
Aww.
My parents thought I was going to get fat.
Oh.
Which sounded
sucks.
less pathetic in my head.
Oh. I was able to have as much as I wanted on Halloween night, but I could only have 2 pieces a day. And then I could, because I actually decided that, so I could have my Halloween candy last until, like, Thanksgiving, which I did most years.
You really don't want it to last that long, because at the end you just have,
it's a pride thing. It's a pride thing. It was like, you were the coolest kid on the playground if you were still having Halloween candy, like, in the middle of November.
All I'm saying is I've had enough, like, Airheads that you can crack in half that I know not to do that.
The Airheads never lasted long. I was more of a chocolate kid. I always gave the lollipops to my brother.
One year, when I was trick-or-treating, I think it was like 13 or 14, we had this thing in my neighborhood called booing, where you essentially, like, leave candy. It's leads up to Halloween, you leave candy on someone's door. It's like ding-dong ditching, but with candy. Mm-hmm. So one year, that happened to us, and in our little booing basket, among a couple other things, was this life-size Jell-O mold of a foot. Like, complete with veins and everything.
Ew!
And it was just Jell-O, like unflavored, I think, just gelatin. And me being me at the time, I bit into it, and it turns out there were in the middle of it hard candy representing bones that you would just have to like snap through.
Dan Bresler, this is not true.
Oh God.
So that passes for food.
Ew. That's gross.
So I'm a really skittish person. I can't sit through any scary movies, anything like that. They literally just jar me and I freak out. So Halloween, I think I was 12. I was walking around my neighborhood, and we have a lot of elaborate Halloweeners. Is that a thing you can be? It is now.
Yep.
We have a lot of elaborate Halloweeners in my neighborhood. And I went up to one of their doors, and they had the cobwebs everywhere, and they were dressed like witches. And I rang the doorbell, and my friend's dad answered the door because they lived there. But he was dressed as something totally creepy, and as he answered the door, he just fell out the door on purpose to scare me. But I peed myself.
Oh my God.
On the doorstep. And then my mom, because we were on the other side of the neighborhood, wouldn't let me go back to my room and change.
How old were you?
12? So I had to walk around the rest of the night and pee.
This has been another edition of Cassie Tells Incredibly Embarrassing Stories. Like,
I'm not gonna let you live that one down.
That's pretty bad.
Thank you for telling me that.
Emily, I'm so glad I get to spend Halloween with you this year.
Oh, God. Yes, well, also on the topic of Halloween, Cassie, Dan, and I are hosting a YouTube gathering. It'll be the first ever YouTube gathering I'm hosting. I've been to, like, one other YouTube gathering, and VidCon, which doesn't really count. And I'm really excited. I don't know what to expect, because you can't really expect things when, like, a group of nerds get together that don't know each other.
You can expect a couple awkward moments and a lot of hilarity, but mostly fun.
Yes.
And you can expect them to all be holding video cameras.
Yeah, you can expect a lot of
That's a good
video
thing.
cameras.
Everything will be filmed.
Just in case you haven't already gotten the information, that's October 29th from 1 till roughly 4 p.m. and that is in something Square in New Orleans.
Jackson Square in New Orleans. It's the center of the French Quarter. If you are listening, you're going. There's a giant statue of Andrew Jackson on a horse, and we'll be meeting around there. You'll find us. We'll have signs, and we'll be dressed up.
And as of now, at least 30 people are attending. So
at least. And I would like to point out the fact that the majority of the people who are attending are people who go to school with me. But the main people who are hosting this gathering with me, Dan, who lives in Indianapolis, Cassie, who goes to school in Boston, and Briarly, who lives in South Carolina.
I love
you guys. I love you guys.
1,240 miles.
There's someone else who's coming from Michigan or Massachusetts.
I thought it was
or
Montana.
Minnesota.
Montana. It's one of those M states.
There's too many M states.
Michigan or Minnesota, I think.
Maybe it's Minnesota. Anyway,
yeah.
props to that guy. I've decided I'm going to make crowns for the people who travel long distances. So, they'll have that for them. Oh, man, I'm really excited. Actually, the weekend of that gathering and Halloween, there's this giant music festival that's, like, on the other side of the city. But it's, like, everybody's going to be, like, out getting, like, shit-faced and, like, partying and stuff. And we're going to be, like, having, like, nerdy sleepovers, which I'm excited for. I prefer that. I actually prefer that usually. I go to school in New Orleans, for those of you who don't know that. And, like, every school is a party school, basically. Every college has its, like, own party reputation, but it's the fact that, like, I'm in New Orleans. Partying is, like, hardy here. It's intense. And I don't party. I don't drink. I'm awkward at parties. I don't find them very fun. But it's hilarious to see these people. People literally go out every single night here. And I live in the party dorm, and the floor I live on is, like, infamous for, like, having the skanky girls and, like, the party people. So almost every single night, I'm woken up at, like, 3 a.m. by people screaming down the hallway. And my roommate and I are keeping a list of some of our favorite quotes that people say. Like, one time about, like, as everybody was about to go out, one of the girls was running down the hall, and she was like, Alex, you forgot to take your birth control! That was one of them. Yeah, and then I think one time I was about to go to sleep, and we have brick walls, so it's pretty thick. Like, you can't always hear everything that's happening. But the girls next door to me, it was, like, one of the first weeks of school. It was, like, 2 in the morning. I was asleep, but my, like, head was against the wall. And there was this guy in these girls' rooms, and all he wanted was a blowjob. And they wouldn't give it to him. And he was there for, like, a good hour. And then I think he eventually left, or I fell asleep. But I was keeping up to date on that story. It was a good time.
I live in Boston, which has about 204 universities in it. And that is not an approximation. In Boston, in the greater Boston area, there's about 204 universities. And
crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. I go to a pretty small school, but we go to the Harvard parties and the MIT parties, and by we, I don't mean me. And I, unlike Emily, don't really live with a hardcore nerd. I live with 2 lovely ladies who also like to party. And so my room is often the funny place to be, to be quite honest.
It's true, though.
I get to have the best phone calls, and one of my roommates will come back some nights and be a rather maybe sort of under the influence, which is a personal choice. I'm not condoning, but I'm not opposing. But she always gets to hear the stories of my friends because they'll be telling me their lives on Skype when she comes in. And so
it's great.
Emily was telling her personal issues the other night as she's laying down and going to sleep, and my roommate is giving Emily just the best advice. And I think
she was across the room and just, like, shouting drunken advice at me. It was the best.
Oh, what was the best one? I think it all comes down to just F him, which is what she always tells Kim. She always tells Kim, just F him whenever Kim has a problem. And that's a good one. That's solid.
Just good general advice, I would think.
Yeah.
There was another time where Luke and I were on a call with you, Cassie, and I don't know if you knew the girl who came in, but she heard that Luke had a British accent, and then immediately proceeded to do her best British accent, and told us, where did she say she was from? Essex?
Surrey.
She just went on and on about that.
It wasn't Luke, it was Allie.
Was it Allie? Oh, yeah, it was Allie.
Duke would not have responded well.
No, he wouldn't have. You're right. It would have been more bitter and go away than Allie, who thought it was funny.
Allie's entertained by people who think he's funny. Yeah, I don't have any like good like drunken roommate stories because Rachel, my roommate, I love her to death, but she doesn't like party all that much. She does a little bit. I got a nice drunk call from her last night. It was my first. Oh, I told her before she left. It's fall break for us now, and she's back at home in New Hampshire. And I told her that she had to drunk call me because I was gonna miss her, and she called me last night, and it was nice. But like Rachel, not under the influence, has the most hilarious Skype conversations. I'll be on Skype with you guys, and you'll just hear snippets, like one-liners from things Rachel says. She makes up her own catchphrases.
Oh, we need
fantastic.
a Tumblr. We need a Twitter called Shit Rachel Says.
I'm thinking about
literally half of the things she says are screamed. Like,
It's true.
I don't know that she has, like, she literally has 2 volumes, like, normal and screaming is the default. You have to, like, consciously do normal.
It's true, though, and I love it. Oh, my goodness.
Everybody
Yeah,
listening to this has to realize that Dan and I both like Rachel much more than we like Emily.
It's true. No, I think it's come to the fact that just, like, people watch my Emily the Brave videos now for hopes of seeing Rachel in the background. Because she's always there when I film, which is, like, awesome. I think it's great that I can film while my roommate's in the room. But, I wish you could see her when we're in our Skype calls, because she usually sits here in, like, cat ears. Because she bought cat ears at Target 2 weeks ago, and she wears them all the time. Like, I'll go to the bathroom or to, like, take a shower or something, and I'll come back, and she'll be, like, sitting there, like, Skyping with cat ears on. She Skypes with her cat, too, is the other thing.
My roommate came in the other day and I was holding my wand and wearing a wizard's hat just because I needed to be a little closer to Hogwarts.
You're the cutest
Awkward
thing.
moment.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know, like, I'm so lucky that Rachel is a nerd fighter. Like, I wonder how other nerd fighters are holding up with roommates who aren't nerd fighters. Like, we just seem like the weirdest people. Because we like everything, and we're enthusiastic about everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's got to be
other
weird
nerd
suddenly
fighters.
living with someone you've never known and seeing them every day.
Dan's a baby.
Yeah.
Dan's
Yeah.
still in high school.
Thanks for bringing that up, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't have any good college stories because I'm not in college until next year, but I do have one good high school story.
Let's hear it.
You guys, basically, a little bit ago at my high school in a math class, this girl was sitting there, and she had been flirting with pretty regularly a guy in the math class. They weren't like going out or anything.
It's called talking to, Dan.
I don't know
It's
what-
called talking to, but you do it with air
Okay,
quotes.
talking to with air quotes to this guy. But they weren't going out or anything, so she sends him a note, like you do. High school, very mature. She sends him a note saying, like, what are we? And then he should have replied with, like, a metaphysical response. We are, the continuation of conscious thought. No, but he was like, but basically asked if they were going out, and he just turned to her and shook his head. He's like, no. To which, when she got this message, she stood up, said, if I can't have you, nobody can. She took a pencil, cut an X into her neck, and then said, I'm going to cut your penis off. Just with that exact tone of voice, too, I'm sure.
She articulated it very nicely.
Yeah, she did. Then she left the room and went into the bathroom. So, as you can imagine, the teacher was a little confused by this, to say the least. So he called the nurse and, like, the police to go get her. But to make sure she wasn't, like, dead, because she literally just cut an X into her neck, he sent 2 girls in the class to go make sure she was all right. So they go into the bathroom.
I just don't know what kind of trained educational professional would send 2 children into the room of a girl who just cut her neck.
People do crazy. It's definitely a high stress situation, Cassie. Don't judge. So they go into the bathroom, and the girl is sitting there, sitting like crisscross applesauce on the floor,
I can't believe you said that.
with tarot cards laid out in front of her, and then she points to them and goes, "You are warriors." And then they leave, and she got arrested.
The craziest stuff happens in Indiana. They feed you guys too much corn there.
So that's why you don't do drugs, kids.
Dan, I just don't believe your story.
It happened. I can tell you. I can get people to back up my stories.
Get witnesses.
I wasn't there for it. It was I did not personally see it, but it's a pretty well-known thing that happened.
Oh my goodness, that's
Ah, indeed. Yep, definitely an ah.
Oh man, that's some crazy stuff. Nothing like that has happened at my high school. Just we were pretty normal apparently.
I'll be honest, nothing even remotely close to that has happened at my high school either. Like, we were the most boring, totally normal high school until just recently.
That's so funny. I shouldn't be laughing at this girl's clearly deep personal problems, but
Yeah, well, I think her deepest personal problem was, like, crack cocaine.
that could have been it. Yeah.
Isn't that everybody's deepest personal problem?
If we go down to the bottom of it.
It's almost always crack cocaine.
Me,
Almost.
that girl, and Robert Downey Jr.
Yep. There you go, man. I don't really know how to segue into the next topic, but I mean, that was a fantastic story. But I wanted to talk about Tumblr. I'm still a relatively...
That's related.
No, segue. I'm still relatively new to Tumblr, and when I first got it, I got it because everybody was telling me I had to get a Tumblr. And in my mind, from what I'd heard from Tumblr, Tumblr is just like a place for teenagers that had internet access to be angsty. And in a sense it is. I do follow some kids I go to high school with, or went to high school with, their blogs, and they're just like angsty. But Tumblr is also beautiful because it has wonderful things like the text from the TARDIS blog. That's one of my favorites.
And Vondel Swain.
And Vondel Swain. He is a prime Tumblr blogger. He's Tumblr famous, which I find funny. I think the concept of Tumblr famous is very interesting.
I, on the other end, do not use Tumblr.
Yeah, Dan, we decided to get a Tumblr at the same time because everyone was telling both of us we need to get a Tumblr.
You say we decided to get a Tumblr at the same time. It was more like you decided, hey, I'm going to get a Tumblr. You pretty much have to get a Tumblr too. And I was like, okay.
You decided that you had to do what I said, so.
I don't remember it that way. Or I do remember it exactly that way, actually. I have a Tumblr, and I use it sometimes.
You just post pictures of ocelots.
Like, what else do you want? Honestly, like, isn't that what Tumblr's for? I'm pretty sure.
It's in the
dear
mission
audience
statement.
members, I've had a Tumblr for much longer than these two, and I have become friends with Emily and Dan, and I realize that Dan Resler is not following me on Tumblr. And this is after we've been friends for how long? A while?
At least 2 days.
At least 2 days. And he's not following me on Tumblr, and I confront him about it, and he goes, oh, I know. Yeah, that's a conscious decision.
Like, I could follow you on Tumblr, but then I would have to read all the stuff you post.
Dan, who do you follow on Tumblr?
I follow you. I follow The Art of Animation.
Which is a fantastic blog.
I'm gonna throw it out there. That's my favorite blog.
That's a great blog. Like, there's nothing funny or cute about it. It's just like it's a beautiful blog.
That's actually pretty much it that I follow.
Oh, great.
So what was that? What was your favorite blog?
The Art of Animation. I'll post a link to it.
By the way, we're putting links below to everything we're talking about. Because we do that.
Can I just be real honest and say that my favorite Tumblr is my own Tumblr? And I think that is because the function of Tumblr is to just reblog shit you like. So, in the event that I'm just reblogging shit I like, why in the world would my Tumblr not be my favorite Tumblr? I just don't understand how that would ever function in a world. Like, Emily, is your Tumblr not your favorite Tumblr?
Well, it is my favorite Tumblr, but my other favorite Tumblr would be the Daily Otter, which just posts a picture of an otter every single day. And I would say that my Tumblr would be my favorite Tumblr, but my Tumblr clearly does not have enough otters. It could make it that way, but then everybody would unfollow me, because I don't think everybody else appreciates otters as much as I do. Yeah.
If the otters were like land mammals that were furry and had spots, then I might.
And we're also called ocelots.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna be honest. The name is a pretty big factor there too, so they're gonna have to rename it.
I really like peacocks.
Peacocks are nice.
That's a thing.
I like peacocks because they're the only animal that's allowed to walk around at zoos,
Right?
and I just always have this blind sort of hope that a peacock is going to like fly into a cage it shouldn't fly into.
Why would you hope that?
Just because I think it would be really interesting.
That's just watch
Like,
a
not like a
documentary.
Not like a bear or something, but like a dolphin or something that would just like play with it.
Have you also noticed that on other facets of the internet, there's lol and burb, which are the little acronyms, initialisms that you actually say out loud. However, Emily earlier in conversation today said gapoy, which is GPOI, and I'd never heard it actually stated out loud.
My
Don't
favorite.
say that out loud. Is it gapoy or is it like goppy?
I do not know what that
It
even stands for.
stands
Gratuitous picture of yourself.
That's it. Gratuitous picture of yourself. I didn't know what it meant for like the first month I was on Tumblr. I had to ask my friend Jocelyn to explain it to me.
My favorite one is getfo.
You mean GTFO?
Yeah, GTFO, but you change it to getfo.
I like OMFG, OMFJ. I used to say that one a lot.
There's a reason these are initialisms and not.
Do you guys
words.
ever try to pronounce your initial?
Elk.
Dipper?
Kajik?
Kajik? Yeah, it's hard because there's no vowels.
No.
You really need vowels to make words work. Unless you're talking about cities. Like Eureka Zerzisk.
I had no idea what that was.
Eureka Zerzisk, it's a city in California, and it's awesome, and I want to live there just so I can put it on my
it's
postage.
somewhere up. The funny thing about California is like California is huge, and there's a lot of really random things about California that someone who's lived in California for 18 years doesn't even know about. Like that city. You told me about that city.
Yeah, I did. I legitimately am planning on moving there.
Have fun
so
with that.
that's where you guys can reach me in the future.
I don't know how to spell that, so I can't send you an email.
It's like
Yeah, that's part of the idea.
URXZ.
I think it's YREKA.
It's basically like, you know when you're upset on the computer and you just type like Asafashkashma. I feel like someone just like hit their keyboard and was like, that's the name for this city.
They rolled their face on the
I'm
keyboard.
gonna hit this QWERTY
Or
keyboard and see what
they probably
happens.
tried to type something with like their nose or their elbows.
Mm-hmm.
I did that the other day.
Or it's like
I typed with my feet.
Or it's like code for something really profound, but you have to like replace the letters
It's probably
with
going
other
to
letters.
be, you know what probably it is. It's probably going to be, there probably is, you know those National Treasure movies that Nicolas Cage does? I'm sure that's actually like a part of a National Treasure movie.
You know those National Treasure movies that Nicolas Cage does.
That was a sentence I said. He does those movies.
I know those National Treasure movies.
There's like 2 of them, and they're not very good.
It's Nicolas Cage.
Whoa, back off. The first National Treasure was good, man.
I
And
find...
back off Nicky Cage.
Okay, this is what I find hilarious. All men seem to defend Nicolas Cage to the end of the earth.
I love Nicky Cage, man.
Cassie,
I
what are
also
your
don't know if
opinions
he'd
on Nicolas
appreciate you
Cage?
calling him Nicky.
I'm pretty good.
Man, me and Nicky, we're real close, man.
My favorite thing about Nicolas Cage is that he once got Johnny Depp in contact with his agent or something, and now they're really close, and so Johnny Depp just completely bailed him out of his debt last year.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
Okay, guys, like you can diss on Nicolas Cage all you want. He is an Academy Award winning Best Actor. Like, he's got some
He
talent.
won what Academy Award?
Yes, for Best Actor. Best Actor in the world. Well, in the United States.
For one movie.
For that year.
year.
Yeah, and it was a really good movie too. Leaving Las Vegas, phenomenal.
I like, every guy I've talked to about Nicolas Cage will defend him to the end of the earth.
Yeah, we got together at last year's guy meeting, and we decided that 1, jeggings are really ugly, and we don't like those anymore, and 2, Nicolas Cage is awesome.
And was that, yeah, I can actually picture that happening. I think when we have Zach on this podcast, we'll talk about Nicolas Cage again, because
me and Zach can
his
decide.
argument for why Nicolas Cage doesn't suck is, I still don't understand it. He tried to spend like an hour explaining it to me. I still don't get it.
The fact of the matter is Nicolas Cage has made a lot of really good movies. That's why he does not suck.
National Treasure.
Okay, National Treasure, first of all, was a family movie, so you can't judge them on family movies. And 2, wasn't that bad. Is actually, I would argue, the first one was pretty good.
Didn't he do? I keep getting him confused with Brendan Fraser, who also sucks.
He did a lot. The thing is, Nicolas Cage is actually insane, like 100% insane.
I believe it.
3 Nicolas Cage movies that you should watch that will 100% change your opinion on Nicolas Cage: Leaving Las Vegas, Adaptation, and Matchstick Men.
Okay.
They're brilliant. He's brilliant.
I'm willing to watch them.
can we stop talking about Nicolas Cage now?
Yeah. Can we stop talking about Nicolas Cage? No.
I would not like to continue talking about Nicolas Cage.
All right, let's talk about Sam Rockwell and how he is almost like Nicolas Cage, and I love him.
Emily!
Can we talk about Zac Efron? I would be willing to talk about him.
Oh my god, I love Zac Efron.
Oh my god, I love him so much.
Is it because he's something humanitarian?
He's a charismatic
No,
human.
it's because he's pretty attractive.
He's a talented actor. If we want to talk about talent, comedic
Here's
talent.
the thing. Here's the thing. He looks really girly.
Not anymore. He did in High School Musical.
He has pretty
And
eyes.
continues to.
Dan, you should look up Zac Efron right now.
I googled him.
Dan, have you seen
Oh,
his
of course you did.
abs?
I'm looking at his abs, and I'll be honest. In terms of abs, they're only like moderately impressive.
No, but you don't want too much ab.
Yeah, you can't have too much ab because then you're like abtastic, and that's the only thing people focus on is your abs. But if you have like
I'm
subtle
Like, you don't want to be
abs-
Ryan Gosling.
No. Oh god, Ryan Gosling though. Okay, this is going back to the Tumblr blogs. Have you guys seen the feminist Ryan Gosling blog?
Oh my gosh, yes!
We talked about that in my symbolic logic class because my teacher's a crazy feminist. But
my
it's so
school has its own meme.
good. Of course it does.
Emerson Kid Lion. You can look it up. My favorite of the memes is just a picture of the lion, and it's got the purple and it's got our actual logo, and it says, "Dorm shower clogged? Curse you, glitter." That's a thing that we have. We have a lot of glitter during orientation week. I inhaled a lot of glitter. I swallowed some. We don't want to talk about where else it came.
One time, I was at one of our like really good family friends. They were having their 50th anniversary party, and they had cupcakes, and they were really good. But the icing had glitter on it, and I had a lot of the cupcakes. I pooped glitter for like 4 weeks. I felt like Kesha. It was fantastic.
We put on The Tempest in my high school, and our puck threw glitter during a lot of different scenes, and I was the director. I swear, I was shitting glitter for weeks.
Isn't it great though? Because you're like, I just feel like Kesha. Kesha probably feels like this all the time.
So that's a conversation we just had.
Okay. There's also no way to segue into our next topic because I was planning on talking about like social media and getting intense, but now we're talking about pooping glitter and Nicolas Cage.
As you do.
As you do.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about, and that we all wanted to talk about, because it's a topic that is going around our little community, if you will. My friend, Mike Lombardo, who most of you know, made a video yesterday entitled "Please Don't Let Us Die," and it was about YouTube community and how we're getting less views and just, the website, YouTube, the direction it's heading in. And there was a lot of conflict over the video, which was interesting. Because he said, he talked about the 2007 YouTube, which is something that Cassie, you were around for, but Dan and I are both very new YouTubers. We both started making YouTube videos, like what, Dan, like in 2009?
Well, I technically started in 2005, but I wasn't a vlogger until 2009.
So we didn't join the vlogging community until 2009, so all of this, people saying, I wish it was like what it was in 2007, and people saying it's better than it was in 2007, I am lost on that. So Cassie, what are your opinions on the video and the topic?
I posted my first YouTube video in 2006. It is no longer around. You guys can't find it. And I think that Mike's video was very interesting because we're coming off of the time where we had all been having the Andrew Bravner discussion, which was the open letter to YouTube. And so there was a lot of controversy with that, and there were a lot of people talking about how they want old YouTube back, they want that big community focus back, how YouTube used to plug channels, and how it's not doing that anymore as a corporation. And I think that that's a discussion worth having. However, I do feel like we just had it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what Mike said, my only issue with what Mike said was there was no solution offered. And I think, Emily, you said this earlier.
Yeah, I agree.
There's very little solution offered, and so to a certain extent, it's complaining without a product.
Mm-hmm.
And my problem with Mike's video is that I don't know how relevant it is anymore, because lately, I feel like after the Andrew Bravner discussion, YouTubers did try to start plugging younger YouTubers and smaller YouTubers. they tried to start rising through the ranks again. And I think that YouTube's been better within the last few months than it had been. Had this video been posted right after Andrew Bravner, I think that it would have been interesting. But
here's what I think the big difference between Mike's video and Andrew's video are. Andrew was talking about just new YouTubers were having trouble. Mike was talking about stylistically and like the way YouTube works. Old YouTube was like webcams and people talking and not a lot of editing, and it was just entirely based on discussion.
I did that. I remember that.
Well, now it's more of a. I mean, it's still discussion. It's just there's a bar of entry. You have to, have a certain level of equipment, have a certain level of editing knowledge, be good at presenting.
Now,
to be a part of the conversation.
Mike was also focusing on the YouTube music community because that's where he started. That's obviously what he still does, and that's harder to break into now, especially, because he mentioned Julia Nunes, who was like one of the first people I watched on YouTube, and her first videos, and even now her videos still are just her in front of a webcam singing, harmonizing over herself. The editing's not fantastic, but the quality of the video, like her talent is like fantastic. And it's hard now because regardless of how talented you are, like there's a girl, Phoebe Lee 24, I'll link her in the bottom. She has been watching my videos for forever. Like when I first started Margot Alaska, my collab channel. And she is so incredibly talented, but all of her videos are her singing original songs in front of her webcam, which is fantastic. It's great for her, but she's not getting the views or the subscribers she could. I think she has like less than 100 subscribers, and she's been making videos for as long as like I can remember. And she's fantastic. I think she's great. But it's going to be harder for her to get more people to watch her videos on YouTube now.
To be honest, I can offer like zero commentary on the YouTube music musician
me
front.
too. As a viewer, I can.
I'm so musically talented. But I can say I'm still vlogging like it's 2007. I haven't really changed much. I have a nicer camera now, and that's just because to barely stay relevant, you do need a nicer camera.
It's true.
I'll offer you that. Eyesights actually aren't that terrible, if I'm going to be honest, especially if you're just starting out. Most people are pretty forgiving of eyesights.
Oh, totally.
But Mike was trying to plug these channels. He said, in the bottom bar, here's a list of channels that are put together wonderfully, and they're smaller YouTubers. But it was such a huge list.
It was a massive list.
That's not the way to promote people. If you want to promote people... Yes, Dan.
Sounds like
I'll cut you off right there because I don't think Mike was at all intending to use that as a promotional video. It's just like an
example of people who are still here.
I think part of the reason he made that list was the effect of the size of the list.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point I wanted to make. I think the size of the list is a good indicator of why the people that are successful now are successful. Yeah. Is largely because there are just so many people.
There are so many people, and there's more people every day.
Yeah, and because there's so many people, only, a certain... It's harder to stay relevant if you can't keep up with all of these other people in terms of, even if it is just because your camera's not quite good enough. Mm-hmm. It's really, really, really hard to get noticed because there's so many other options, and it's just not possible to watch, 100 people every day. You just can't.
Yeah, You go ahead, Cassie.
I just don't think you can blame... I don't think you can blame YouTube for being a corporation. You can't blame a corporation for being a corporation.
I was going to say the same thing, yeah.
Mike said, like, there were no partners in 2008, but there were partners in 2008. Partners were introduced in 2008. Mm-hmm. 2007 there weren't, but there were still ways to make money off of YouTube. That was never a new thing. And there were assholes on YouTube then. There were big shots, and I just don't think it's a legitimate argument anymore.
I think... I mean, you are seeing a lot of people that make videos, like us, that are more content-based, where we're just telling bits about our lives or things that we find interesting, doing fairly well. And I think that's the thing to focus on. If you look just at like the top 100 or like the top 50, it's easy to get a pretty pessimistic view.
I mean, because it's all like music video channels, and I Just Age,
there's a lot of crap in the top 50.
Yeah.
So the point there is a lot of bad things in the top 100, just unoriginal crap that generates a lot of views by virtue of what it is.
You have to like dig really, really deep to even find us and other good things. People that are better than us. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are better than us who have less subscribers than us.
I know there are people better than us.
But the point of that is there are a lot of people like us that are doing fairly well, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things, one of YouTube's great achievements.
I
that-
think, I mean, the other thing, I don't think Mike even said this in his video, but, like, I don't know, this was something I thought about, is, like, we're doing well right now because we're new. I mean, Cassie, you've been around for a while, but you're still, like, a relatively new vlogger.
I didn't start vlogging. Well, I didn't start this channel vlogging until a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. And same here. I started, like, really picking up my vlogging in, like, January. And Dan, you too. And I think something that was, you know, kind of talking about the 2007 YouTubers, like those people who have been around since 2007, who have been consistently making content, and their content's improving, but because people have been watching them for so long, all of a sudden they become a little irrelevant. Because there's all this new stuff that people are, like, forgetting about them. And that's sad. Because, I mean, I know what Mike said, and I don't even know if he said it in his videos, but he said it to other people, that he just hit 20,000 subscribers, but he gets, like, maybe 3,000 views on his videos. And that's the same way with a lot of people who have that big amount of subscribers, but not people watching their videos.
Yeah. Especially in his case, since a lot of his subscribers are older subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people who have been around
just,
since then.
You know, they stopped using their accounts. They got new accounts.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah. I actually am surprised at how I have, like, what, 5,000 subscribers? I usually get, like, 4,000 views per video, which is, like, incredible. I mean, most of them are probably my mom, but, no, I agree with you, Dan. It's a very interesting topic, and it's something that I feel like is just going to keep being brought up, because it's obviously something that's going to take a while to be fixed, and even if it is fixed, I have a feeling the best way we can not fix it but settle with it is if our little community of, like, underdogs, the watchers who, and the little vloggers who are maybe partnered and getting paid but aren't using this as their main career, like we all are. Like, I can't live off of YouTube, but I think it's something that's going to keep being brought up, and the best way we can do it is if we just stay close as a community and support each other and support those people who are trying to be new here.
To be honest, off of what you said, I feel like if the YouTube community doesn't stay as community-oriented as our area is, then it's just going to be every few months a bigger YouTuber is going to make an Andrew Brabner or Mike Lombardo video, and there's going to be a new YouTube revolution. So the best way to do this is to stay constant and to nullify the need for those videos.
I feel like we just need to be more in tune with each other.
Yeah.
Because we're a huge community, but it's not that hard to watch and engage in other people's videos.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I watch a lot of YouTube.
I'm starting to watch a lot more YouTube now because I care about it. I love YouTube. In all honesty, I love YouTube and I love what it does and everything we're able to do for it, and, like, all of the freaking incredible opportunities we have been given and other people have been given because of YouTube.
That especially is amazing. So I'm going to take a second. Mm-hmm. Thank you, everyone who listened to this. Thank you to everyone who watches our videos. Thank you to everyone who is involved in the YouTube community, comments, and takes part in this discussion. Glad we got to have this talk with all of you. Emily, you want to take us out?
I will take us out. This is funny. Yep. So this has been the first ever episode of Unblock the Smiletrap, a day that will live in infamy. No, not infamy.
I just almost lit my finger on fire.
And a day that Cassie almost lit her finger on fire.
Ow!
I don't know how you did that.
I was playing with a candle and a lighter.
Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, if you hated it, if you have any kind of feedback, we welcome it. Leave it in the comments below. If you have any questions for us, also leave them in the comments below. We're hoping to do this on a bi-weekly basis. And it will be here on Unblock the Smiletrap, youtube.com/unblockthesmiletrap. And yes, and if you have, if you just want to tell us if you love us, that'd be cool, because we love you guys.
There's going to be 20 people in the comments that are like, just so you know, I don't love you.
Aww. Anyway, thank you again for listening, and, I can't say until next time later days, because it's not a thing.
This is not Emily the Brave.
Well, later days is just a
Until
nice
next
thing.
time,
Anyway,
keep your smile trap unblocked.
Lol.
That's a good one. Alright, thanks guys.
Bye.